Hi, I'm Brandon Ketron here on behalf of EstateView Planning Software. I want to do an instructional video of how to use our RMD calculator in the EstateView software. So this screen you're seeing here is what you will see when you first open the software. And we're going to focus today on the RMD calculator, which is here. You just click on that calculator. There's two modules. There's the Pro and Pro Plus. I'm going to go to Pro Plus. So Pro will have all these inputs plus some additional abilities to show the effect of a QCD or a qualified charitable donation from the IRA, which is basically taking a portion of your required minimum distribution and giving that to a charity so you don't have to pay income tax on that, fund the charity, and save some taxes on your required minimum distributions. So first, it gives us an input screen, right? We put in the grantor's age. You can use that by putting in their birth date, which will give you their age, and you can put that there. Or if you just know their age, you can select it here. We put in their projected year of death. I'm going to show that they're going to live for another 20 years. The number of years illustrated kind of automatically ties to the year of death. Of course, if you go with a shorter life expectancy, it's going to change the number of years illustrated. What the growth rate on the IRA assets will be, what the income tax rate is going to be, what the current value of the IRA is. So it's a $3 million IRA. If you want to defer your first year RMD, you have the option basically that first year to either take it in the first year or take a portion of it in the second year along with your second year requirement distribution. So you have the ability to show that by checking this box. What our annual charitable donation is going to be. So let's just say we max that out at $105,000. That adjusts with inflation based upon our chained inflation rate here, which we can input in. We have 3% shown. And then the age that we're going to start those charitable distributions, let's just go ahead and start it right now with the 75-year-old. So once we have our basic inputs put in, we click to see the results. And it brings us up this nice spreadsheet that shows all the details of how the IRA will be valued, what percentage has to come out, what percentage we're giving to charity, what our tax savings are on that distribution to charity, and the end results over time. So going through the scenarios here at the top, you have just a summary, right? And again, you have your inputs on the left-hand side. If you get into this and you want to change something, maybe you like to show a little bit smaller growth, maybe you want to show a little bit larger growth, you can click up and down on the buttons to do that. Maybe the balance is more, maybe it's less. You can obviously do that here on the left-hand side at any time, and it will automatically show the results here on the right. So at the top, again, just a summary. So what the current value is, what our end value might be in 20 years if we just take the required minimum distributions out. When's the first RMD due? What is the amount of the RMD? Are we going to max our charitable donation? And then our total tax savings from giving that $105,000 inflation adjusted to charity each year. And then what our cumulative taxes paid on those RMDs will be, taking into account the savings from the charitable distribution. So looking at the spreadsheet here, we can show every year, we can show every 5 years, every 3 years, whatever you want to show. You just click up and down on the box. We'll show every year for purposes of this illustration. The first year's RMD is highlighted here in purple. So let's say, for example, that we have a 60-year-old, right? Or 64-year-old. The IRA will just build up in value, and then when they turn 73 is when that first RMD applies. So that just shows the build up, and then purple is when we have to start pulling out the RMD. Back to our 75-year-old for the example, we have a $3 million beginning value. We show the probability that they're going to die or survive to a specific year. So at age 90, based upon the general population, they got a 34% chance of living past age 90. So it's just a good way to show clients, here's kind of the average life expectancy and your average probability to survive. Now, most of our clients we're going to be using this software for have a longer life expectancy than the average population, better access to healthcare, more money to afford it, and generally wealthier people live a better lifestyle, more healthier lifestyle. So this isn't completely accurate for our particular case, but this is based upon the average population as a whole. Again, the beginning value, the growth of that based upon our growth rate that we've put in, what our RMD percentage is each year, what that RMD actually is, the taxes we would owe on the RMD if we didn't make any charitable contribution of the RMD or the required minimum distribution, what our net would be after those taxes, and then the end value of the IRA taking into account the growth less the required minimum distribution. And then we get into our charity. If we want to take a portion of that $121,000 RMD amount, give the maximum amount to charity, we can illustrate that with the charitable donation. You can see that grows with inflation over time. And then their cumulative amount to charity is shown here. So you can show the total. Maybe after 10 years, they want to stop giving to charity, and you can adjust the software to account for that. What the distribution remaining after the distribution to charity is. So we got 121,000 from the IRA as a requirement of distribution. We give 105 to that to our favorite charity, and we're left with almost $17,000 after that distribution. And then we can cumulatively track the total amount received from the IRA over time, our taxes on that net $16,000, $17,000 distribution after the charity donation, cumulative taxes paid, our tax savings from those charity transfers each year, and again, the cumulative amount that we receive after taxes, after charity, and then the end balance of the IRA. So one of the interesting things that you can do with this software is you can compare results. So this assumes we give the full value to charity. And you can see that at the end that we have $3.5 million left in the IRA. And this is our cumulative taxes, $840,000. So what if we duplicate this to show RMD2, but under RMD2, we don't give anything to charity? So then how does that compare to benefiting charity? Well, the end value is going to be the same because we're just taking the RMD out each year, but we're going to pay a lot more in taxes by not benefiting charity with those RMDs. So if you have a client that's charitably inclined and they're just giving cash to charity every year, you can show them the benefit of, say, hey, rather than giving that $100,000 check to charity from your personal account, send a portion of your required minimum distribution to the charity. Get a much better charitable deduction. It's not limited by AGI. It's a dollar for dollar deduction as long as you're over 73. And that can save almost $1 million in taxes over time. So you can compare results. Maybe they want to give half the amount to charity. Maybe they want to give $50,000 a year to charity. You can show them that scenario with, again, duplicating the scenario and putting in $50,000 as our charitable donation. That's going to adjust with inflation over time. And you can see there we've kind of split the baby, we'll call it, with the tax savings. So you can compare results based upon different inputs, which I think is one of the nice features of EstateView. And it gives you those summaries here at the top of 1, 2, and 3. If you want to highlight specific things, you can just click on them and it'll change the color of the inputs. So you can share this with the client and say, let's focus on the yellow highlighted sections of your cumulative taxes paid on this required minimum distribution over time over the next 20 years. And let's talk about the savings that charity and using the qualified charitable distribution may offer. Or if they're not charitably inclined at all, right, we just go back to scenario 2. Maybe we delete the others, and that gives us our kind of basic, okay, if you just pull out the RMD, this is where that IRA is going to go over time. So that is the RMD calculator. Again, you can share this with client. You can copy this link into their onto your clipboard. You can highlight it. Oops. You can highlight it, right click, and copy the link that way, or you can click this button to copy it to your clipboard, and then you just paste it in an email to your client. It comes password protected, so don't forget to send them the password. You can change this password if you like by just clicking up and down on the digits. So maybe if you want to use the birthday, for example, I was born June 4th, 1990. So it might be a good password for a client. You could use the last 5 of their socials, whatever you feel, any number you make up, it will kind of be associated with this link. Copy it to your clipboard, send them the password, and they'll actually see this exact screen. So if they want to play with the numbers and say, well, my IRA only gets around 5% each year. I think the planner was a little aggressive there on the growth rate. What if it would only grow at 5% a year? What impact does that have? That actually eats into the IRA. So they go from 3 million at the beginning to an end value of 2 million. So you can see the IRA is actually driving down in value versus up in value, and we're at a 7.5 growth rate. So again, clients can play with this. You can generate an explanation letter for the IRA as well. Click generate explanation. It will generate an explanation letter that will populate and can be sent to the client explaining this scenarios along with the spreadsheet illustrations. You can export this to Excel. So if you want to do that, you can. It'll populate an Excel file for you. So if you don't like the way we've named our columns, you can come in here, enable editing on the spreadsheet, and say IRA beginning balance, for example, if you like that wording better, growth, income, whatever you want to change these headers to, you can kind of independently do that on your own. If you want to build out a fancier spreadsheet with, center the columns, change the colors, you can do all that independently in Excel by just exporting the spreadsheet. So that's the RMD calculator. Hopefully this was beneficial and help you understand the features that are offered in EstateView with the required minimum distribution calculator. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Let us know your comments, help us improve the software. And thanks again for your time and for listening. All right, that'll cut the RMD calculator. Let's see. All right, I'm going to stop for the night. We'll start this again at another time. Thanks.